welcome to episode 13 of The Depths, with your host, Atramentum_X and me. This episode will focus on relationships within adult content creation. The theory behind how virtual relationships form and develop is an entire topic in itself, which will have its own dedicated episode in future. For the sake of brevity, we'll focus more generally on the different types, and the advantages, drawbacks, and challenges of each. Part 1. Intercreator relationships. Content creation, VTubing specifically in this case, requires a much broader and heavier workload than a viewer sees on stream. The investment of time and energy in order to be successful is huge, and when factored in with maintaining real-life relationships and employment, this can leave precious little energy for virtual socializing. Nobody is an island in the content creation game, however. Networking, building professional relationships, and cultivating a supportive friendship structure are vital tools for growth and caring for one's mental health. Initially, one might think that finding connections is easy, as creators produce a plethora of broadcast and social media content that can be browsed to gauge their style, interests, community, and values. Whilst these certainly are indicators of potential compatibility, navigating the social and professional safeguards that each content creator maintains for the sake of safety and effective time and energy conservation is a different situation entirely. Digital relationships hold several advantages for content creators and their communities. They negate proximity issues, provide access to those with shared interest and experiences, and mutually beneficial collaborative opportunities, greater social penetration in the community, reducing social gating, which are barriers that prevent us from being drawn to someone IRL, providing easy access to communities, lowering social anxiety and inhibitions, and potentially increasing self-esteem and access to social support systems. No relationship type is without its drawbacks, however. Digital relationships offer little physical contact and can enhance feelings of loneliness. The separation of virtual action and consequence from the physical realm can lead to the increased potential for abuse and dishonesty. Oversharing without the proper grounding of consent and trust can lead to disastrous consequences in the wrong hands, leading to disillusionment and cynicism after being burned, or conversely, anxiety and hypervigilance at every interaction. The lack of paralinguistic signals can also increase the potential for misunderstanding. Ultimately, each relationship is unique. Everyone has their own metrics of pros and cons versus their available energy and time to decide whether a connection is a worthwhile prospect. Virtual relationships are just as real as physical ones and require similar investment and trust from the individual. Part 2. Parasocial relationships. Although often used as a pejorative, parasocial relationships are actually a content creator's stock in trade. The act of consuming a piece of media or content and feeling like you're involved or relate to it is called a parasocial interaction. Continuing to think about, reference, or seek to interact with the character in that media after that parasocial interaction indicates the formation of a parasocial relationship. There are several psychological models that define and stratify parasocial relationships. I'll be focusing on The Levels of Parasocial Relationship Model by Giles and Maltby in 2006, based on the Celebrity Attitude Scale by McCutcheon. Level 1. Entertainment Social. This is where the grand majority of parasocial relationships reside. People are drawn to a figure because they're a source of entertainment and comfort, and they derive enjoyment from interacting with their content. Level 2. Intense Personal. These relationships are characterized by intense, compulsive feelings of attachment and devotion. Viewers may feel a skewed, unhealthy perception of intimacy and personal investment in their content creator of choice, and may intrude on daily life, affecting finances, personal relationship, and the allocation of time. Level 3. Borderline Pathological. Viewers in this level experience uncontrollable compulsions and fantasies that significantly intrude into their daily lives. They may take drastic actions to monopolize or control the object of their affection, such as stalking, emotional resource guarding, or blackmail. Entertainment social, or level 1 parasocial relationships can be healthy and beneficial for both creator and viewer. They provide entertainment and can help relieve boredom, loneliness, and depression. As a supporter travels down the pyramid, these benefits give way to unhealthy and eventually pathological behaviors that can be delusional and dangerous. The rise of social media has allowed more constant and intimate exposure to one's public figure of choice. Their thoughts, tastes, and snippets of their daily life are all available for consumption. Whilst this is excellent for engagement and audience retention, it also facilitates stronger attachment through constant small acts of self-disclosure, which, in turn, can potentially smooth the way for susceptible individuals to travel down the pyramid. Live content such as streaming especially reinforces these feelings by providing direct and instant interaction with the streamer. Content creators therefore must maintain rigorous boundaries for their and their viewers' well-being, encouraging them to enjoy the connection while staying at the right level of the pyramid. Tonight we'll be discussing the panel's experiences with both types of relationships, how they manage them, and what techniques they use to do so. The sources for this video will be linked on the ending card. Thanks for watching. Join us now in the studio.
Roger.
Yeah, no problem.
And welcome everyone to this episode of the Depths Podcast, episode 13, Friendships and Relationships for Adult Content Creators. That's YouTubers and other types of creators alike. We're joined today by three lovely guests, Mrs. Mummy, Maito, and Trua, as well as my co-host, Lady Mystique. So,
Hi.
Hi, Mystique. So we're going to do some introductions, and we'll start with Mrs. Mummy.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Mummy. I'm a variety YouTuber here on Twitch. I also am on the Blue Twitch, or the Funsley, as they like to call it. And I play a variety of different games. Right now I'm kind of sort of on a hiatus, semi-hiatus, because I'm waiting for my 2.0.
Hey, awesome. Are you excited for your 2.0?
It's been a struggle, actually.
Oh,
It's
no.
more of a headache. It's like this mountain I'm just trying to climb, and when I get there, I'm just gonna sigh and be like, "Ah, finally!" You know?
I totally feel that. Next up, we've got Maito.
Hey guys, my name is Maito. I'm a villain VTuber. Yeah.
A man who needs no introduction, Maito.
Short and sweet.
ASMRist, ex-YouTuber, current YouTuber, 14k subscribers on YouTube, just putting it out there.
Let's go.
Let's go. Congratulations, by the way, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And last but not least, Whale!
Hi, you guys. My name is Trua, and I'm an Orca VTuber. I'm mostly well known on Twitter, but I am also found on Twitch and Blue Twitch, as well as TikTok and YouTube. But Atra, it's so nice to have to be on this show. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you for being here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, Lady Mystique.
Hey! I'm Lady Mystique, also a variety streamer and YouTuber. You can find all of the links to my content on ladymystique.tv.
And I'm your host, Atramentum_X, variety streamer and YouTuber. You can find me on Twitch and Blue Fansley. Wait, hang on. Fuck. Anyway.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Blue Twitch and Purple Fansley.
Purple Fansley. God damn it. As you can tell, I might be a little bit nervous. We have some amazing creators in here tonight. Creators I really do look up to. So I guess to start us off, we had a wonderful introduction there by Lady Mystique about parasocial relationships and sort of the levels of that. So I guess to start us off, what would be your major concern, panel, if someone was to come to you and say they want to be your friend? Like, you don't know them, you haven't seen them before, but they're like, I'm looking for VTuber friends, and I want to be friends with you. How would you sort of...
If that was their opener.
If that was their opener, yes.
Man, if that was their opener, I'd want to know why. Like, what's your motivation there? You know, because we, as creators, don't really get to see much of your personalities, or you don't, at least not as much as you see of us, right? So, if someone comes up to me wanting to be my friend, just out of nowhere, and I don't really know them very well, like what's the reason behind that? It makes me suspicious, because like it makes me feel like you might want something out of it, you know, because like otherwise, why would you be approaching someone that you barely know, asking to be their friend?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that. I think that when somebody comes to me and they're like, and I've never really seen them before, like they're not like, I don't know them from my stream, I don't know them from interacting with me like on Twitter, and they just message me with like, hi, I want to be friends. To me, it seems very superficial because we've never had an interaction. So I always assume that they only want to be my friend because of like ulterior motive reasons, and I guess it's very like cynical of me, but because it's happened so many times in the past, that's my automatic like thought process, like boom,
Mhm.
the red flag.
Yeah, it's tough. Go ahead, Drew.
No, sorry. I guess I'm gonna be the odd opinion out here. I grew up with no friends, so how do we make friends if we don't try and reach out? I mean, we all start somewhere, right? I mean, do we really all have to be in the same space in order for us to be connected? I kind of look at it as like, yeah, we can be friends. I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me. We're all kind of like innocent until proven guilty or proven otherwise. So if they haven't done anything to me and I don't know them, I don't mind at least attempting to be friends, but it's all about how much you allow yourself to be friendly, and like it's all about setting boundaries.
I think it's also the phrasing too. I feel like I'd be more than willing to get to know somebody if somebody came to me more so along the lines of, hi, I see your content around, I'd really like to get to know you, more as a person. That I feel like is a little bit different, because to me, friend is a title, a relationship title, that is something that's kind of earned, not automatically given. And so that's kind of my take on it. Yeah, I agree that we all start somewhere, but I think it also has to do with the phrasing. The whole, you're already coming to me wanting to be my friend, you're not even asking to get, you don't even know me yet. Maybe you won't like me once you get to know me. So it's more along the lines of, hey, I'd love to get to know you. I'm more susceptible to that and be like, oh yeah, let's get to know each other, than hi, I want to be your friend. That just
Right.
to me it's like a red flag. That just that phrasing alone, I'm like, cringe.
Well, they
But
might be
no.
nervous too, like
Yeah.
I personally never take like messages like that. Like, so when it comes to stuff like on the internet, it's really hard to tell tonality. So there's somebody, if somebody turns around, they're like, hi, I really want to be your friend, versus hi, I want to be your friend, stuff like that. It's like, it's hard to say that, like, and to tell the true meaning behind it. So I think getting to know people, through that is super important, but also, again, it's setting boundaries and how much you allow yourself and to let that person in or not. It's completely up to you. You don't have to call them a friend or even refer to them as a friend, but just you don't want to seem closed off and standoffish to everybody, because it doesn't give a good image.
I think
I'll say my point real quick. So I think it's interesting, right? Because like VTubing has two sides. Like there's the personal side, yes, and there's also the entertainer side. The fact that we all are running businesses, so to speak. But like say you're going to a networking event IRL and you want to get a job, you'll never go up to somebody and be like, hey, I want to be your friend. It's like, I think VTubing is, or like content creation, is sort of unique in that people sort of jump right to that sort of like, well, yeah, let's be friends, instead of like, let's like, work together or something. And I just thought that's always been a kind of an interesting thing I've noticed in this space, where friendship is sort of synonymous with like colleague.
I think also people, for me, people seem to try to take shortcuts where they see people and they're like, okay, I want to be your friend, as opposed to like getting to know something about your content, or like interacting with you like in your replies, or in wherever you are. Like I've become friends with several people because they've like been in my streams or replied to me on Twitter or whatever the case was. Then they DM'd me, and because I thought they were cool, we became friends. But to get like a random DM that's like, hi, let's be friends, maybe it's because of the chronic fatigue, I don't have a lot of energy to like to spend on that. But like, I get where you're coming from, Trua, because you seem to like to see the best in people a lot, and it's something that I admire and could probably learn from.
Yeah,
Oh,
I try my
yeah.
best to not immediately villainize people when there's no villainization to be seen from firsthand interactions. And I feel like that's something we need to learn from, because especially being on something like Twitter all the time, and I feel like all of you guys can attest to this because you guys use the same platform as I do. We are so quick to just villainize everyone. Every single person is villainized for everything that they say, everything that they do, and I don't think we should do that.
That's very true. That happens
I
to me.
agree.
That is
all the
so
time.
true for everyone on this
There's
couch,
no-
honestly.
There's
Yeah.
like a level of preemptive self-protection, isn't there? Where you're like, okay, you know, everything is a potential like drama that someone could potentially like cause. So you need to be sure of whoever you're sort of being friends with,
Yeah.
and who you're letting in.
I 100% believe in like the arm's length thing though. Like, you know, like we don't have to be like quote unquote friends, but like I guess I have like different levels of friendship. Like, you know, I can call you a friend that like I can reach out to you and, you know, whatever, say hi, whatever. But then there's friends that I hang out with and they know me a little bit more, which I would call it like my closer friends or like my circle.
Yeah, maybe we're just differing on like a level of nomenclature. Because like for me, I don't call someone a friend unless I have that like closer established relationship with someone.
Yeah, same.
I like hesitate to call someone a friend too quickly.
I have like acquaintances or like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, somebody I'll collab with who I'm like cool with, but I don't really will label them as being like a friend. Like that's like just another kind of like a work colleague to me. You know, I get along with my work colleagues just fine, but and you know we talk and we joke around, and that's what I consider a lot of like some of the people that I will collab with. They're just a work colleague, you know. But as in like, am I going to be in their DMs all the time? Again, I have a very high level of what I would consider friendship, you know, somebody who I would call a friend, but that's how I choose to label them. And like Trua said, you know, she labels them she has them in different tier levels, you know, this is a close friend, this is, I would see it like kind of like that, you know, this is a close friend, this is a kind of acquaintance friend. And like, I get that. I don't label a lot of people that I interact with like friends until we actually become like on a personal level.
Yeah, I suppose it's also a bit like some of those people who have like 14 wives or
Oh god.
like 9 husbands or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is actually a very interesting point, because like when I was researching for this episode, I came across, you know, the concept that self-disclosure is one of the basis of like a close relationship forming and a strengthening of bonds. How do you like decide how much to disclose?
I think.
Oh, the silence was deafening. Was that a bad question?
Yeah, no. I think it's just a difficult
very
question.
Deep question, yeah.
Yeah, because like I feel like everybody's answer is gonna be different. But for me, I look at it from the perspective of being an entertainer, and that what I put out into my space is what's going to become my branding. It's not like, I think branding is a really important point to consider as a creator. And you know, people consume your content not just because they like you as a person, but because they like your content. And if you end up just venting about your problems a lot, then that becomes your content, and people won't be able to get as much like joy and enjoyment from it. And you'll probably end up, maybe not like explicitly, but like people will start to associate you with like negativity and stuff like that. So I think having some sort of like barriers there is probably a good idea from an entertainment standpoint, just to make sure that you're putting out the best quality content that you can. That's at least how I see it. So I hold a lot back.
Yeah, for my case, I would say like for like anything Twitch related or like on or like, I am pretty open with people approaching me, but when they approach me and like they're like, oh, I'd like to do collab with you on Fansly, or I'd like to do collab with you, that's a hard stop for me. If I don't know you, then I'm not going to get to like get to know you in that context. That is like a terrible idea. But like that's like one of the major things that we face as like adult content creators is that people will see that sort of content, see you in a very vulnerable sort of state, and kind of like accelerate forward and like, well, you know, you come on stream, you must be really open to like, you know, doing lewd stuff with people, for example.
Yeah. For me, you said like, how do you know? I guess I kind of treat it as like, you know, like if you were to make a friend in real life, you know, you go to a party, hang out with a couple friends, you know, how do you know like you guys are gonna mesh well? You don't. You know, you
Well, I
just
meant,
kinda,
how
like,
do you decide? Like,
oh, how do you decide?
like when you're making content and collabing, you know, like you've got a rapport, how do you decide how much you want to disclose?
Are you talking about like with our content? Like how much we
Yeah.
talk about? Oh, well that
And
just
like
depends on
into
like
creators
comfortability.
as well.
Yeah, that just depends on comfortability. Some people are not comfortable with sharing anything about themselves, which is completely understandable. I know anonymity is a huge thing in the VTubing community. I personally don't care that people know that I'm from Detroit because like I like it's not a big secret. The only thing is I don't want to share like my first and last name, stuff like that. I'm good with that, but I've shown pictures of myself. There are bits and pieces that people can put together and whatever and find me if they really wanted to, but a lot of it comes down to you know, how worried are you about, you know, like the internet stuff. I've been on the internet for 25 years, so I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
I always say,
Or
good
you
luck
can have
finding me in New
accidental
York.
disclosure.
Yeah, and I've done that too.
Like
Done that shit too.
like Wheelie and his face cam, or when Atra was sending me money for a commission over PayPal and didn't have a business account, so ended up sending me his full name and home address.
I did do that.
No,
Done that too.
oh
I've done that.
God, I no. The only reason I know about it is because I did the exact same thing with someone else. So I was like, yeah, this is how you deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. We pretend we don't see anything. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
pretty open about things like that. Like for the most part, I won't like readily give out my name and whatever. But like people have seen it because again, I too do not have a business account. So people will be like, I donated it to you and it says your name, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Like if you really want to find me, like I mean, seriously, come on. I live in the South. It's not safe to come to my house. But I'm just, but like in general, for the most part, if people ask me questions and stuff or what I'm willing to share about myself with my community, with my content, I'm pretty much the same person when I'm doing content as I am off of doing content. So I tend to be very genuine and authentic with what I say to who I am as a person. I understand that, like, and I agree with Mito that your persona and stuff is your brand and you only put out what you want. Well, and I agree with that. There's something, you know, but my brand has always just been me, you know, it's who I am as a person. And so the only thing I think that I'm very kind of like hush about is I am in my 30s, so I don't specifically ever say exactly how old I am. I'm like, no, I'm a lady, you don't ask me my age. Kind of
Love you for that. You're so real.
It's like, don't you dare ask me my age. I'm in my 30s. That should be enough. You know, once you're over your 30s, you don't have to disclose how old you are. Okay, that is enough. and
Or when you
also-
collab with someone and they're like, I'm
Right.
22, and you're like, oh God.
No, and I'm just like, yeah, I always say I'm 30 something. That is my answer.
It's one of my
And
tags.
also- right, and also I think a lot of people tend to ask me very intrusive questions about my poly relationship with my partner Lucid, and that is a no-go. You're not allowed to ask me questions about my relationship. Like, oh, how long have you guys been together? A long time. None of your business. You know, that is personal. That is like the one thing I am not willing to bend on. You ask me personal questions. How big are your boobies? Sure, whatever. Who cares? I don't care. but that is I think that's just very intrusive. You know, our relationship is our relationship, and there's some things that people can ask, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But there's like other things that are a little bit more intrusive that I don't like to share, and he respects that. Like he's never talked to other people about us either. And sometimes people go to him like, hey, mommy, and you this, and he's like, yeah, no.
yeah, I think having those like personal boundaries, even just for privacy, is important. Probably for mental health as well as the health of your viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, VTubers for some reason like are always treated like we're on some sort of dating site.
Yes.
It doesn't make
that's
sense.
so
Like
true.
we were criticized. Like I remember watching like when I first joined VTubing as a Vroid, last year. I remember watching somebody get completely like doxxed and everything just because they were married. Somebody found out that they were married and doxxed them, and they got in so much trouble. Like people hated them for it, and I was like, why is that a thing? Like you don't have to, like, you love the person that you're watching. Why should their relationship matter? Unless they're, going around saying like, oh, I'm single, like let's go flirt, let's get into a relationship. I can see that. But like if it's just somebody who's literally married behind the screen who is just trying to live their life, leave them alone.
True,
Yeah, and you would-
dating sim character, okay? Just accept it. That's what you are as a content creator, as a VTuber. You're just a dating sim character, nothing else. You're not a real person.
Basically.
It's
That's how
crazy
they
though,
treat
right?
us,
Because
to
like
be
you
fair.
Oh
don't.
shit, we're in a simulation.
Well, that's when you're at the yellow level of the pyramid, where you start like
Yeah.
getting some delusions about like, fantasizing about being in a relationship with this character, and
so
then
think they
finding
have
out that they're
imaginary
married, or that like that you can't be in a relationship, feels like a betrayal, even though it's so clearly not.
Right? Like you don't stop watching Ryan Gosling's movies because he's married or something. Like I don't know if Ryan Gosling is married. It's just an example. Like you don't.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that
That's a
doesn't
great
happen
example,
with
actually.
other like creators because we have such a more intimate platform. It just like I don't know why everyone is oriented around dating too. I feel like there are so many like people out there who have been who have not had that many like dating experiences, and they like are a lot of the people online probably are a little bit more on that side of the spectrum. I'm not like throwing any shade or anything,
Oh, of
but
course.
like I think that's just how it is sometimes. And
VTubing is intimate, like, for better or worse.
yeah.
Like, you don't get to talk to Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling doesn't, like, respond to you. Even though that's a great example, by the way, Mai, but, like, I think that interaction with people, it accelerates the parasocial, like, to levels that you wouldn't get from any other medium. The podcasting, and movie, and your TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
because
feel like
there's
it
an
doesn't have to be
interaction.
though. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't have to be though. You could literally just turn on stream, go on OBS, play your game, say hi to chat, and then turn it off. It's up to you on how far you decide to take interactions. Whether you decide to comment on Twitter, send that DM, whatever, then you're taking that step as well. So it's a two-way street.
Well, I think it has to
course.
do with the setting too. Like you are watching actors perform. There's another layer of separation there. And it's also something that is not happening live. But when you are watching like a live streamer, even if the live streamer isn't interacting with you directly, because like a lot of top streamers don't read their chats much,
Exactly.
right? But
That's
there are
very
still
true.
so many parasocial relationships with top streamers, and I think it's because of the setting. I think that's a big part of it. Like people just watching their favorite streamer live, like they get to see all the little moments that are cut out of movies, but you don't get to cut them out of a live stream. I
Yeah.
think
It's
that
not manicured.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that just increases the level of perceived intimacy.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's also because your viewer, your community members, or however you want to call them, they're going through everything you're going through with you. If you're like
Yeah.
sad about something, like let's pretend you're playing a video game, you start crying. It was a sad ending or something. They're sad for you. They feel that
Yeah.
emotion. That is a link that then's formed. It's a bond that's created. Like, oh wow, I really feel sad too. Like even if you're not talking to that person, they're a lurker. They're not saying a word to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's a
doesn't
good point.
matter. They're attached. They're connected. They're invested in your growth and in your stream. And that's still, there is no interaction, but there's still that emotional connection bond that is made with them to the streamer. Now the streamer has no idea they even exist. They're lurking. They haven't said anything. They haven't, you have no idea they're even there. But that person has formed a bond with you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great point.
No, I agree
Mm.
with that. But I will say this though. I feel like, and I'm gonna get chastised the fuck out of this. I feel like the word parasocial is kind of thrown out a little too loosely.
No,
Oh
I
no,
agree.
you're
I
100% correct.
agree.
And
I
that's
made a
only
post about that
because
not
a
too long
lot
ago.
of people
Mhm.
like are just so scared of that happening. It's like this is gonna sound weird. We're all a bunch of social anxiety ridden overthinkers. A lot of us are. And so when we see somebody saying like, "Oh, hi, like I'm new. Do you want to be a friend or do you know anything? Can you help me with content creating?" Like that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to take something from you. And I feel like we have to kind of do some like take a step back and really think like, "Hey, do they mean well?" So that's when you kind of do a little bit of lurking on their page and try to find out like about them, and if they seem genuine. I have made such a great friend. Like somebody actually came into my stream one day, and because they found me because I was being cyberbullied on Twitter. I was trending, which was stupid.
I
Oh
remember
God,
that.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, it was so bad. So he came in and he defended me, and it was super nice. And he's like, "Oh, I've never seen your stream before." Long story short, became one of my really close friends, because he wanted to develop a friendship. And I actually ended up meeting him like 2 months ago in person, and he was super nice and one of my mods today.
Yeah.
That's
There's a
parasocial
corollary
at
though
all.
that I think there's a corollary though that you don't have to become friends with everybody who asks.
Yeah.
And I think there
Yeah,
is
that's
often
true.
an expectation that like you go, "Oh, I want to be your friend," because you've got that like that instant like back and forth of chat or Twitter or whatever, that like you don't have to be friends with everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. I'm very
And I
picky with who I give my time to, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that means a lot of people get their DMs like ignored or something like that. But I just like, I don't want to be constantly on Twitter and just constantly sending DMs to people that I don't know. Like I don't have that energy.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Yeah, honestly, and like
Or just
if
hi.
you're yeah, no, so many people also just don't put effort in to make themselves this sounds kind of cold to say, but like marketable as a friend.
Well, no, I
Like
agree because
if there's such a huge demand for friendship, then like I mean that's just a fact of content creation. Like you're gonna have more people who want to be your friend than just like a viewer in your stream, most likely. So like I feel like you do have to have some sort of like discretion there of who you give your time to, or else it's going to take up everything.
it totally is. And then there's totally people who are going to treat you like a BFE or GFE machine like every morning. Get that good vibe from you and then go along their way. Just like I'm not a vending machine. Like I don't have like you can't just put like a DM into me and you get like boyfriend vibes out of me.
Yeah.
Actually, to go back to something that Drew was saying, because she was absolutely right about the parasocial thing. Like, it's used as a pejorative, but
is.
literally a parasocial relationship forms like if a piece of media leaves a lasting impression, like if you think about Ryan Gosling after you've like seen a movie with him in it, and you go, "Oh, I'm gonna go follow his Twitter or something," that's a parasocial relationship. Like, it's literally our stock in trade. So I think that the way that it's used as like
An
a
instant
pejorative
negative.
to indicate like that yellow and red level of the pyramid is very much a mistake. Because
Yeah.
oh, sorry, no, you
No,
carry
no.
on.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say that was what I was gonna say earlier. Was just that there's such a negative, like like a dark cloud over the word parasocial. That was all I was gonna say.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
it's
So
such
yeah,
an
like
ugly,
Drew has absolutely got it right.
like nobody wants to be called that, like because they just like it's all the worst things you could possibly be. Like it's a stalker, a creep, like a weirdo, all in one basically. You're like when you get branded with that, like it's like a scarlet letter, basically.
Yeah, and I
it's,
think that's one of the reasons why people are like afraid to reach out and make friends is because they don't want to be labeled like that. Nobody wants to be canceled for being, considered parasocial just because they want to be a friend to somebody else when they genuinely have the good intent behind it. And I believe in good intent.
Nobody wants to be screenshot on Twitter and like with a "don't do this" like label on them.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, the bad part is, like Tris said too, that not only does the viewership, the community easily get labeled as parasocial, so do the streamers. Like, I don't want to reach out and be like affectionate to one of my community members who's having a hard time and be like, hey, you know, I'm worried about you, are you okay? And just reaching out and showing them affection, and then I'm labeled as being parasocial. You know, that's another thing. So then again, that's the reason I think I'm personally a little bit kind of reserved with my friendship, because of that reason too, because I don't want to be labeled as being parasocial, like, oh, Mrs. Mummy's parasocial, she's, you know, that's a fear, because again, you hear that word parasocial, and to me it means creep,
Exactly.
or predator, or, you know, something along the lines of that, or and yeah, that's just automatically, it's like a cringe, like, it's like, oh god, you know, I don't want to be that, I don't want to do that, I don't want to give off that vibe, that's what I'm being to my community.
Or the vibe that you're like farming parasocial relationships.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Or especially, you know, if you're on the looter side of things, that you're like making content creation to take advantage of your viewers.
I have to fight against that image all the time, you know, and that's a really good point that I'm sure Trua kind of, I don't know if Trua feels that way too, or, you know, Atra, because we're all, you know, adult content creators, that it's an image of us using our community members, you know, using that parasocial connection that they have to abuse of them, to use of them, to get things from them, and that's an image we always have to fight against too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like, I have no idea how to navigate that. I'm doing that one stream at a time at this point.
And I mean, Atra and my relationship started off as a parasocial one. Like, he was in my chat, and then one of us reached out to the other, and then he started streaming, and like, we became friends that way. But it started with a parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
Just being interested in someone's content.
I thought she was hot.
I will say, like, inside the adult space, it is a little bit more interesting, because I have ran into so many more respectful people on the blue Twitch than I have on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be honest.
Oh, same.
People on
same.
Blue Twitch are so nice.
Yeah.
Like, I've run
Honestly,
Twitter
so
is
many-
Twitch viewers are pretty rough too sometimes, depending on, you know, like when I did more flirtatious live content, I had people in my chat like pushing my boundaries constantly. But like, yeah, on Blue Twitch they were much more respectful. Surprisingly, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, because you recently de-escalated like the level of lewdness in your content.
Yeah. I've just had too many experiences with people like pushing my boundaries and making me uncomfortable while I was live, that like for a while, like I used to be very flirtatious with my chat, just like put out that energy constantly because I thought it was fun and I was good at it, and that's the only reason. But like after having my boundaries encroached upon so many times, I just lost all desire to put out that energy with my chat anymore. Just because it just made me too uncomfortable. And like, yeah, I decided to step back as branding myself as a YouTuber. I'm still like making spicy audios sometimes, you know, but I just don't want that expectation from my viewers. When they step into my stream, I don't want them to expect that kind of content because I'm not always in the mood for that. I'm not always feeling up to giving that to my chat, you know?
Valid. That's valid.
Totally valid. It came as a surprise to me, but I completely understand why you went.
Like I had to have so many conversations with my mod team because there were just too many people for me to keep track of, and like I didn't always want to be the one who had to call it out in the moment either. So like, yeah, it was just a huge issue.
Yeah, it ruins the vibe for better or worse, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to be like slapped on the wrist, but it's got to be done, otherwise it just escalates, goes down the pyramid.
Exactly.
We had a question from Faye the Succubus in chat. Do the panelists have a boundary that they find often gets unintentionally crossed? If so, have you found any effective ways to state your boundaries for newcomers to try and avoid it reoccurring? I think for me, like, so we talk about through Twitch.
You can say fancy.
Right,
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
we can say fancy, right? Yeah, okay.
I say it on my streams all the time.
Right. So for better or worse, like, I'm mostly streaming on fancy to my friends. And I use that term in like the lightest way possible. Like my friends, my community, people I know. Occasionally people do come in and they see being atrocious a lewd, and then they're like, okay, can I like flirt with him? Can I ask him like about, you know, what he's doing to himself, right? Like things like that, basically. And I haven't, like, I don't have an answer for this, basically, but I do find that, like, I do have to sort of like slow things down. I'm like, all right, listen, like, this is not a sex show. Like, this is me playing a lewd game with a toy. Like, not like, you know, I'm not gonna like flirt with you and like fuck you like over like this like thing right now. So like, I've been finding that I have to like really slow things down, like, and like sort of lower the expectations for like people streams, I guess. Like, this is a lewd performance. This isn't a sex show, I guess.
Well, they're paying for a performance, not an experience.
True.
I'm so sorry, Trua.
No, that was that was me. No, you're good.
Oh, sorry, Mummy. I'm looking at the stream on a delay.
I think what I was gonna say was, I think for me, being a woman in the lewd space, I tend to get a lot of like aggressive male attention. And a lot of the times it's aggressive males who want to put me in the submissive or subservient kind of position.
Oh god,
and
yes.
So that is a big like red flag and a big like boundary for me. Like, especially considering the fact that I don't really label myself as being a submissive. I label myself as being a switch, but instantly men of that kind of, you know, like being dominant, men who label themselves, some men who label themselves as dominant, not all, again, this is more of a toxic
Twitter
situation.
doms.
Right, a more toxic
doms.
dom, persona, who or a fake dom, even, because they're not really doms,
Fake doms,
if
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll come and they'll be like, you know, start calling me a bottom, or start, you know, being kind of like aggressively insulting me, or start degrading me, thinking that that's okay, that's they're like allowed to do that, and that's like, I put a hard like no on that. Yeah,
Calling you a good
that's one of
girl.
the things oh, you're gonna be daddy's good girl, and it's like, you're but you're not my daddy, bitch. You know? So I don't, it's one of those things where it's like they try very hard to quickly put me in a role that, you know, is not established, and it's like, I don't even know you.
It's so
Like,
disrespectful.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the flip side does happen too. Like, I've had people, like women, come into my chat and
Oh,
try
absolutely.
to force me into a dom position with them. And like,
Mhm.
I am a dominant,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that
Right.
doesn't mean I want to dom you. You know, like, don't call me daddy in chat.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
It's a weird feeling.
So, again, I'm probably the odd one out here. My only boundary is don't come to my house. Think about it. For me, I'm pretty open. I'm really nice. I'm very caring, fun once you get to know me. But the funny thing about it is, I'm so desensitized to the internet that what people say don't fucking bother me. So it's not about what people say, because you can't control what they say, right? You can't control what somebody says, but you can control how you respond. So if you don't like what they say, block, mute, timeout, ban them. That's it. Those are my best
True.
friends.
Yeah,
agree.
I mean, I would say that would count as enforcing a boundary, right?
That was
If
gonna
Not
say,
someone
that's
says
really though.
something
boundary.
that-
Like,
That's a
I don't
boundary.
really, but it's different though for each thing. Like, I mean, like, for instance, it's not, it sounds
Like-
weird, but it's like, you know, as females, we get a lot of unsolicited photos in our Twitter DMs. And it's like, oh, it's just another Wednesday, go through and block and delete those.
Yeah.
That's it. You know.
So you're saying it's more of a case-by-case basis as opposed to like a blanket boundary for you?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
well,
But just don't
that's
come to my
fair.
house. That's my own, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think your boundary might be described by saying something like, you know, you don't like having people around who make you uncomfortable. You're
Vibe
definitely willing to, you know, remove someone from your space who breaches that.
I've got
uncomfortable, makes me mad. Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah,
Vibe check is a real thing.
absolutely.
I'll come to you from now on for my run.
I've got to say as well, like I am dominant. I am a femdom. I am not a submissive, and people who come to me and try and like outdom me to try and make me the sub, and start like patting my head and shit. I want to like become violent. I hate that.
Yeah, it's valid. It's because they're instantly trying to, what they're trying to do is take away your power in a way, you know, or that's how it feels anyway to me, is that they're trying to assert their dominance on me, like that, and it makes it seem like they're just trying to belittle me in my own space.
Yes.
You know.
Well, what they're trying to do is take away my agency to decide who I am and like what I'm like as a person. And people who come and they're like, oh, I bet I could make you call me daddy, or like, oh, I bet I could make you squeal, pats your head, oh, you're a good girl. Like,
Ooh.
nope.
Honestly,
Those are all
I
triggers to me.
I think it's a combination of someone wanting like a sexual relationship with you, and also lacking the social awareness to recognize that going straight into talking like that is not the way to achieve it. You know, I think there are plenty of people out there who want relationships, whether they're sexual or romantic, but don't know how to get there without or don't know how to get there smoothly, you know. I think a lot of people just jump the gun on things like that because they figure, you know, oh, if this person is a bottom, then they will enjoy me being a top with them, or like being dominant with them. But they forget that, you know, with stuff like that, intimacy takes time to build. And a lot of times, even if someone does like to be dominated, it doesn't mean they'll like being dominated by someone they just met. You know?
And
I
also,
think comfort
like,
is a huge thing.
yeah, and also people, I think there's an element to like flesh out what you've said of like, they want me to be something because they're a certain thing, and like they don't want to accept that I'm not the thing that they want.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
if they want me to be submissive because they're dominant, they can't go, oh, she's a dominant person, you know, that would never, you know, it's not going to work. They're like, oh, I'll just try and force her into that role that I want her to be in.
They're trying to force you into a position that they want you to fulfill for them, for their own needs and benefit. It is the, yeah, like the parasocial closer toward the bottom of the, where they're just trying to force you into this kind of position to fulfill a fantasy of theirs. You know, they are not seeing you as a person, they're seeing you as an object that they want to put into a specific role. And since you as a person do not automatically fall into that role that they want of you to fulfill, they're just going to try to just shove you in there no matter what.
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't know if that counts as a parasocial relationship, because I think people like that do that to streamers they just met just because they find them attractive in some way. Like, it doesn't have to be that they are like getting to know them and like forming a parasocial relationship. I think it might just be that they're a sex pest and they're finding people that they're attracted to and trying to, you know, force their situations.
Yeah, fair
fair.
point.
I've got to say, it was Renri, in fact, on the very first episode of this podcast that spoke about the pyramid. And she described it, but she'd seen it generally. So I actually went looking for it to find out more about it for this video, and it is such a useful tool for like visualizing and describing like the tiers of parasocial relationship and like where it's moving to like unhealthy places. So props to you, Renri, because that was like the basis for the second half of the video.
I think I do want to point out, and this is something that I myself sort of dealt with coming into the community and like starting streaming myself, is that when you're like starved of intimacy or like don't have like that fulfilled in your normal day-to-day life, when you enter the VTubing sphere, you might actually start to get that hit of like intimacy that you were missing, and it's very easy to sort of overstep and like get addicted to that feeling of like intimacy or like wanting to get to close to people and wanting to do stuff with people and stuff like that. So I do feel like for people who are like isolated or socially awkward or neurodivergent or just basically not able to get that intimacy in their day-to-day lives, that manifests itself in like dealing with like streamers and like can unintentionally cause people to like transgress boundaries or like develop unhealthy attachments.
True.
That's a good point.
It's like the is it the starvation? I forget what this term is called.
Being touch starved, intimacy starved,
Yeah, intimacy starved.
skin hunger.
Skin hunger.
I can't think of something else.
No,
That's a
skin-
DVD killer.
Skin hunger is actually a genuine like term.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like
About-
that alien from the Men in Black.
Egger.
Egger. The Egger suit.
But skin hunger is an actual term for feeling touch starved and not having instances of meaningful touch in your life and craving meaningful touch.
All right. Well, I'll be honest. I am skin hungry then.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going around like trying to force situations with people either. Like,
Just
I'm not
rubbing
trying to-
yourself on everyone like a seal.
Yeah. No.
Do
Like
seals do that?
like a
I
seal.
try to keep like what is it, like whenever I'm interacting with somebody and they act like that, I try to keep mental health in the back of my mind, because it's like, while it's something I don't like, or they're maybe, like you said, hitting a boundary or hitting a nerve, you know, we're interacting with people from all over the world, from different walks of life, from different experiences. They might not be 100%. So, and then, and again, I try my best to kind of be an understanding person instead of just like yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I'm getting real like vibes of assertive empathy from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
valid.
accurate. Very accurate.
Yeah, a lot of people in my community who are very like touch starved or skin hungry. I get, what was it? Skin
What's
Skin hunger.
skin hunger. Right. And so I have a love board on my. I have a board on my Discord called Love, and if like people are feeling like wanting for affection or whatever, I tell them to always post in there and just say, you know, I need a hug or whatever, and I'll always try my best to give them like affection. Or sometimes my community members will message me and be like, I'm having a really bad day today, can I get a hug? And I'll be like, you know, oh, poor baby, I'm so sorry you're having a hard day, and give them a hug. Because the thing is that, you know, people that care about you in your community, sometimes they don't have anybody, and kind of like you're one of those people that they have, and you're important to them. And so it is important to, I feel like it is important to, I don't know, like maybe, and again, that's the thing. I don't want to be labeled as being parasocial, but when my community members do ask me for affection, I give it to them. Whether or not I'm gonna, you know, hang out with them and call them a friend, it's a different story. Again, going back to the friendship thing, but as in whether or not I'm open to be there for them if they need me, yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like there's a level that, you know, they're supporting me, and I have to be there for them too. You know, and but within boundaries, you know, if somebody then starts being, you know, creepy with me, but there's this kind of like almost like a vulnerability of I need affection, like I'm sorry, I'm having a bad day, I just want somebody to show me that they care, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
That's very sweet, actually. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I might be the odd one out here. I personally can't operate like that. I don't feel comfortable in situations like that. I don't feel comfortable giving affection to people who I wouldn't just of my own volition, you know. And I also don't feel comfortable with my viewers relying on me emotionally. I don't feel comfortable like being that their therapist or their confidant or something like that. That's just where I stand with things like that. And I'm not saying you guys are wrong for filling those roles for your viewers either.
No,
because
I think
you have
that's
established
valid.
methods. It's just not for me.
Yeah, it's not wrong, it's just
Right.
different.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
have a
wrong.
battery, and the
Right.
battery gets drained very quickly if I have to deal with it all the time. I don't want to be a trauma mattress, you know.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's what I said. There has to be a boundary there too. Like there's rules with it, like with engaging with me. Like you can't trauma dump on me. You're not allowed to do that. But if you come to me and you tell me, hey, I'm having a bad day, can I get a hug? Sure. I'm so sorry, having a bad day. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear your whole, all the trauma that went into your bad day. But if you want some affection, I'll give you the affection. But no, Mito, that's like totally like 100% valid. Like you're not there to be their therapist. You're not there to, if you don't want to open up that level, because again, it could lead to more, down the pyramid, to a closer parasocial, where then they start seeing you in a sexual manner, or like you're fulfilling a boyfriend role for them, or you're fulfilling a role that you never agreed to with that kind of interaction, and so that's completely valid to not want to open up those floodgates. And that's why I said, like, with me it could be so easily labeled as being parasocial, but I try to keep, still put up boundaries in which I don't choose to cross.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone has their own ways of dealing with this. Like, I don't allow venting in my Discord. Like, it's just like I can't deal with it. I'm sorry. Like, I'll see it. I'll try to help you. Just know, like, I can't deal with it. Like,
yeah, I don't either. There's a rule that says if you do it, you get banned. No trauma dumping, no mental health stuff. That's not the Discord.
And that's just for my own protection, because I know I'll read it. I will read it if it's
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but my Discord server is my baby, so I check everything in it, and so when someone vents, I see it. Like, I also don't specifically, I specifically don't have a venting channel either, because I know it just brings that kind of energy into the space, and I don't want to enable it at all. But yeah, I should honestly be more strict about my venting rules, because I still see people do it, and it still just like kills the vibe.
Atra, do you want to go back to that question by Lofi, actually?
Oh, sure. So Lofi asked...
It was a really good one.
Sure. Lofi asked, this is xloafman XXX. Have you ever come across people who love/gift bomb expecting to get something out of it? If so, how do you work with that / around that? So this is people trying to speedrun friendships by gifting subs and gifting things to you. Of bombing you. I'll admit, like, when I get love bombed, it's just instant ick for me. Like, you don't actually feel this way about me. So what are you doing right? Like, what do you want? And it's just like, it definitely feels like a thing. Like, if when you see it, you see it. Like, some people are naturally sweet. I get it. Yeah, you're naturally sweet. You want to praise people and so on. Some people just kind of know this is their approach to you. Like, I'll be honest, I just straight up ignore it. I just like let it roll off my back. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore your DM. You're tagging me in a dozen things a day. Like, I don't want that energy. I don't think you're. I've never seen you watch my content, so like, get away from me.
Yeah, I've had someone come into my Discord server and drop love bomb messages in the general chat.
Yeah.
And then I saw their name, and they had comms open in their Discord name, and it was their actual Discord name, so I couldn't change their nickname to just their name. I had to like change it to like something with symbols in it. And like, I also saw that they were posting like a copy and paste message in other Discord servers. So I think like that's the only case that I've experienced personally where someone wanted something out of love bombing and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess I'm lucky in that regard.
I think when it comes to love bombing, particularly with gift bombing, it can be an exploitation of the social contract where, like, if you say, for example, it's a reciprocal thing. That's why, friendships, one of the basis of friendships is self-disclosure. It's because you do something, and in order to show goodwill, that person will reciprocate. Like, hi, how are you? Fine, how are you? It from that base, it goes from like something that basic and just spreads outwards. And I think some people take advantage of that sort of ingrained social contract that we're born and raised with, to, like, I don't know, if they come in and drop 100 subs or whatever, that you will give them attention, or to try and buy love, possibly because of what Maito said, that they they don't have enough experience or know how to get that in a healthy way. But it's I think that people can use it to as like a bargaining chip, where they put that in and expect to get something out, not necessarily because they are malicious in some way, but the expectation and the result is the same.
It is like a shortcut. It's like, I can get this person to do this, gift this, whatever it is. And I'll own up to it. Like, I've done that a couple times, definitely, when I get someone's attention. Like, but at the end of the day, like, it works sometimes, but most of the time it's not the basis of a healthy relationship. Like,
well, it's part of human social dynamics. The social
can't speedrun
contract.
trust, and like, so like, I guess the question that I have for is, like, we talked earlier about the sort of levels we put people in, like acquaintance, friend, like so and such. How do you handle like people who are kind of in the acquaintance like sort of like level at the moment, and who are cognizant of that and get upset about it? Like, how would you handle someone feeling that they're not quite your friend, like where the level, the energy's not the same, where they thought you were a friend, but you thought they're an acquaintance? Like, how do you sort of deal with that?
I actually just had to deal with this about a month ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Long story short, there was a person who would come into VC. Now, I actively hang out in my server. Atra's a mod for my server, so he would know I'm always in there. When I say I hang out in my server, that means anybody that wants to come in, whether you're a viewer, a VTuber, somebody that just wants to hang out, you can pop into my server, and I'm cool with that. But the thing is just because you join my server to hang out with me in VC does not mean that we're friends. That just means that we're in a VC together. You're just coming to hang out. Well, this person got kind of weird after my debut, and I hadn't really talked to them much. I think they popped into VC a few times, and the few times that they popped in, they were kind of rude. And they had gotten a little jealous of my debut pop-off. And they started posting, saying stuff like, Trua's getting too big, I won't ever be able to reach her and collab with her. She's getting too big for us.
Oh my god.
It was stuff like that. Yeah, and it was very much like, I don't even feel like I'm her real friend, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I kind of, and Atra can recount this, I posted in the channel and I was like, listen, we're not on that level of friends. Like, you're an acquaintance to me. I think you're pretty decent to hang out with, but we're not on that level yet. And I drew the line in the sand, and they kind of kept pushing it a little bit, and then they started going to other people, and this is where it got kind of messed up, because they started DMing people on how to get close to me. They started DMing like some of my mods, some of my friends.
Jesus.
And then they started crossing boundaries with them. So I was like, once it's like, it's okay if you do it to me, but like once you go to my friends, I'm done.
Yeah,
no, that's fucked up.
Had you even collabed with them in the past?
No, it was never a collab thing.
So,
it was just like we just hung out in VC.
Why was collabing even on their mind then? If they,
Dude, I don't even know.
Because they
That's
talked
so
in
crazy.
VC a couple of times.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The worst part is like they were a cat VTuber, right? And so like their opening line to me, which was a big red flag, but I kind of let it slide because, again, me being empathetic, was like, oh, you're a cat, or I'm a cat, you're an orca, our kid is Shy Lily. I was like, nuh-uh.
Oh, God.
No.
Stop.
Oh, no.
Bruh.
We have no kid. Go away.
That is the danger, though. Like, that is like the dilemma. Like, you're someone like Trua that hangs out in her server all the time in VC, and like anybody can come in, and like instantly that's a connection with the person, sure. But then they construe that as like something bigger sometimes, and like, we want to have empathy for that. Like, okay, I might have hung out for this person like 6 hours in like a VC once, and like, you know, I think we're friends, but we're actually not. Like, it's difficult. I get it. But at the same time, like, common sense should just dictate, like, to not do this, you know?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't have much empathy for that. I don't have much energy for it, empathy for it. I think my perspective is kind of like I know my behavior and the way I respond to things will either encourage or discourage certain behaviors. And you know, if someone is acting like that, I'm going to do my best to discourage it through subtle cues. And if they can't pick up on subtle cues, then and they're just not socially aware, then I don't know if that's someone I'd want to be friends with in the first place. You know, I would prefer to spend my time around people who are socially aware and at least somewhat socially adept, you know? Like, you don't have to be perfect in social situations, but as long as you can have consideration for the person you're talking to and not just like make things about your own agenda all the time and whatnot. Like, my parents do that enough. I don't need that in my friends too.
Oh god, yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, no, I don't think, like, I just I give back like subtle cues, like maybe not engaging enthusiastically in what they're saying, or you know, just trying to give little hints that that I'm not down with what they're putting down, you know.
I had a really negative experience regarding this kind of situation where a community member of mine became like borderline obsessed with me. To the point that they started then like they were very jealous of all the people that I was hanging out. Oh my god. Linus said, oh god. Okay. So and Gook said, oh lord. So
There's Gook too.
those
Yeah.
they know this. They're my community members. So what ended up happening was that they were getting very jealous of the people that I was spending time with. These are actually my real friends, people that I've made connections with, you know. And so I would consider them friends. And so they were always getting very jealous of that. In turn, they know that my love language happens to be gift receiving and gift giving. I'm a big gift giver as well. When I am attached to somebody, I'll want to, you know, give them gifts. And also that's also how I and it's psychological. It has to do with, you know, very distant parenting. You know, my parents only ever showed me affection through giving me things, never through a touch or, you know, words. Right. So again, it's psychological, but that's just me as a person. And so she was aware of this and started to kind of manipulate that situation where she would buy me gifts or send me, you know, send me money, donations and stuff, or bits and subs and things like that. And so in an attempt to kind of get into my circle or, you know, become one of my closer friends, and it just was not working out because, again, there was very big red flags, you know. And so I ended up getting this screenshot of her ranting to someone else, just insulting me nonstop and saying how, you know, she loved me so much. Why didn't I love her back? I give her money. Why is she not giving me attention? You know, all this very red flaggy things, you know. And like a couple of weeks before that, she had told me that she had attempted to do something to herself, self-harm herself.
God.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And so with that, I quickly put a, you know, this is not for me, you know, you need to seek help. I gave her information for, you know, hotlines and, you know, please speak to a therapist. I'm not your therapist. I cannot help you with this. You know, this is this is making me very uncomfortable. You know, and it was I didn't want to be insensitive to what she was going through, but it was in the end, it was a manipulation tactic. That person was trying everything to get my attention.
And it's unfair to expect you to shoulder that emotional burden.
Right, right, absolutely. And so then I end up getting this, it was very scary. And so then I end up getting this huge, you know, dialogue between her and another person, and all this negativity about me. But in the same time, it was, I hate her so much, but I love her so much. and it was disturbing.
Yeah,
It was
we're
very
turning
disturbing.
orange on that pyramid.
Right. And that was,
Mhm.
that was at that moment, I was like, I contacted them and I said, this was a private conversation between you and another person. However, I have become aware of this. What you've done is manipulative. It's emotionally abusive. What you've done, to me is not okay. This is not healthy behavior. I hope that you seek help, and I will no longer be interacting with you at all. And so, of course, I then blocked her on like every, social media platform, because that was the whole gone to a point of us, like a very dangerous level of attachment to me that I didn't even like fuel the flames on. I had quickly put a stop to everything. I never spent time with her alone, was never in a voice chat with her by herself. We never had any interactions apart from, hi, I hope you're having a good day, things like that, like you would with any other casual conversation. And she had just turned it into this something huge. And one of the things that red flagged me, and I feel like people that attempt to sometimes become friends with larger content creators, what she said was, I just want to feel special like all the other people you hang out with.
No. That's very emotionally loaded,
right,
manipulative language.
Right, and that was also very scary. It's like, why do you think that they're special? What makes them special just because they're hanging out with me? That was like the biggest red flag of like parasocial that I had ever seen. I was like, wow, like she thinks that these people I hang out with are special just because I'm hanging out with them. That's crazy. Like that was just kind of like so strange to me.
Yeah, it's not fair of someone to put that kind of emotional burden on you.
And I think something that, because viewers are on the other side of the interaction, that they kind of tend to forget that they are not the only ones that we're interacting with. And one of the reasons that I haven't sort of made a Discord for myself yet is because I was getting, I've got a lid on it now, but I was getting so many people wanting to be like close and special and like demanding of my energy that like they didn't realize that I had like 15 other people all trying to get my attention and get me to interact or praise them or whatever the case was. And yeah, people I think forget that we only have so much battery and we're not going to be able to allocate to everyone all the time, or even most of the time.
Right, and it's being spread too thin. Like we do already so much. There's so much that we as content creators have to keep up with. I don't know if some of you have like full-time jobs apart from this. Right.
I was just thinking that.
Okay, there we go. Right. So there's the full-time job, and then there's the relationships you have with people in your day-to-day life, and then there's the content creation. And with the content creation comes the streaming, the social media platforms, the posting on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. And then at the same time, correlate, like trying to solidify your community and make sure you have a strong community and a backbone, and then,
Where's
there's all
that
these
word
other
cloud?
people, right? And then there's all these other people that are coming in and hitting you with the hi, hey, hi, hope you have a good day.
Hey.
Hi, hello, how are you doing?
Your day's going well.
Right, and it's like there's only so many things you can reply back to, without feeling completely drained. Ugh.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but I already have so many friends that I neglect because I just I can't keep up all the time.
Same.
I don't want to add to that list necessarily. If it's one thing if through natural situations or circumstances I become close with someone, I'm cool with that. But I'm not actively seeking out friends.
And that sounds so fucked up. It sounds so fucked up, but it's so valid.
No,
that is such a right. It's so
I am
valid.
not looking for VTuber friends. So I have many already. I'm happy with the friends I got.
Exactly. I can't keep up with everybody. I'm not good at reaching out either to people that I care about. It's just
the best way to
character flaw
counter
of
that
myself.
is to just post on Twitter and say, oh, I want to reach out, but I'm too shy. and I'm so lonely, and
I mean,
I just lie in bed at night staring at my phone, hoping that people message me.
I kind of did that though. You just kind of called me
my
out.
God!
I said,
I feel like we all have those moments, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I didn't kind of do that. I just said like, yo, any moods who I haven't talked too much yet, slide in these DMs. I'm feeling social. Like,
Oh, no, that's
yesterday was one of those.
That's different from
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
guilt
yeah.
trip people into
Oh,
DMing you.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I would
Yeah,
never
yeah.
do that. But like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I personally, I don't know what it is. It's just something about me. Or it's probably because of past experiences that I won't get into, but I've become very used to being alone, so my default isn't to reach out to my friends. Yeah, and like I can go weeks, if not months, without talking to people and still feel like I'm close to them or like hold them in close regard to myself because that's just how I am. But like when I have free time, I just don't. Like my mind doesn't go to, I should reach out to one of my friends and talk to them,
I think for me, like, being friends, quote unquote, actually, like, it means something to me. Like, I'm gonna check up on you. Like, I'm going to give you, like, my time. A collab with you. I'm checking up on you. That's why I have a very limited capacity for friends, because, like, it means something if you're my friend. Like, and if you're my friend, you know it. And, like, I don't want to give you that superficial, like, hope that, like, I'm gonna be there and I just have the time for you.
Yeah.
So when I say like I don't need more VTuber friends, I'm not being callous. Like I'm just being straight up. Like I have many people that like I care deeply about in this community, and if I take any more on, I'm gonna start neglecting people, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
I think it's the level in which you regard your friendships and how much time and energy each person gives to their friendships in general.
Exactly. I'd go to
one
mat.
person, right? Go ahead, keep on.
I'd go to the mat for any of my friends. Like if they're getting
Right.
canceled, I'd be right there. Like
Yeah.
You know I would.
Mhm.
yeah, no, I know you too. I know you too.
Yep. I've thrown some online punches for some of my friends.
Exactly.
Same.
But and I do want to say, like, if any of my friends are listening, if I don't reach out to you, it doesn't mean I care any less about you. That's just me personally. Like,
No, he's lying in bed crying, staring at his phone, hoping you'll DM him.
I will admit to one thing. I'll admit to one thing, all right? And nobody has to respond to this, but I'm just going to put it out there into the world. If you're modding for somebody, it's kind of hard to tell if you're friends with that person or working for them. Just putting it out there.
That's a good point.
No, that is a good
why
point.
you feel that way. I know why you feel that way.
No, that's a great point, actually. Like, I've known some people who want mod just to become closer to the streamer. And I have two separate experiences as a moderator before I was a streamer that are kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. Like the first one, I am a mod for I would say in the grand scheme of things, a medium-sized VTuber who is very distant with her mods. She's very distant with like pretty much everyone who's not her core group of friends. And like I didn't become her mod because I wanted to be closer to her necessarily. Like I think she's a cool person, but like I wasn't disappointed to see that like she treated it very businesslike. She wasn't conversational with her mods or anything like that. You know, that's one end of the spectrum. And the other one, I became a mod for another partner VTuber on Twitch, but she was very friendly with her mods. She was very open. We had a lot of conversations in the mod chat, and like she became one of my closest friends after a while. And again, I didn't necessarily become her mod because of a desire to become closer with her. In both cases, I was asked to become a mod. I didn't ask for it. And yeah, I think just being well, I think it's interesting to see how differently people can treat like moderators, and I think both ways are valid. It just depends on the streamer. But I do think it's a really interesting situation. and it doesn't really get talked about at all.
We should do an episode on that, Atra.
Yeah, I'll put it in the bank, the ideas bank.
Mm.
I do want to sort of like approach some of the questions from chat, because chat has a lot of good questions right now. I'm going to go back a little bit to EC's question, Enduring Chaos. When you find someone that you want to become friends with who is a creator, what are things you try to do to show that you want a true friendship instead of getting potentially labeled as parasocial? Do you even worry about it?
I usually say, like, we can game off, and I truly mean this when I say it, like, we can game offline. Because I, like, a lot of the times when I reach out or hang out with bigger, you know, people, or even just people that are same, like, my size, I've even told Mrs. Mummy this, like, she can vouch for me, like, I've said, yo, if you ever want to hang out or just chill offline, play games, you want to, you know, tell me about your day, like, I'm here.
Mm.
I think that's a great point. Like, telling people, like, I'd be willing to hang out with you offline. Like, that's a big show of, like, I want to be your friend. I'm not just, like, wanting to be seen with you. That's a big sign.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've done that to other creators that I've like admired or whatever, and been, or like wanted to become friends with, like, or at least get to know on a more personal level. Because let's be honest, when we're doing like collabs, do we really even get to know the person we're doing a collab with? Not really.
Not at all. No.
You know, like, right. What we're doing is we're entertaining at the same time we're playing a video game together or whatever we're doing together.
You're performing.
Right.
Yeah,
There's like, right, and exactly. So there's that difference. Like right now, I'm getting to know your VTuber side, but it's like, you know, if I actually want to get to know the real person side, I'll be like, hey, you know, you want to maybe just like watch a movie and chat and hang out or something one day, and you know, we don't have to, or play a video game together, and that I feel like is a better way to form a real like connection, or like, you know, a bond than, you know, us just, hey, you want to collab? You know, collabs are great, they're fun, but again, to me, you know, as content creator, that's a networking thing. It's a partnership, like it's an agreement. It's, you know, we're both going to stream at the same time. You're going to come to mine or I'm going to come to yours, and that is a promotional or networking process thing that we're doing. And while I do that with a lot of my friends, I stream with a lot of my friends, that doesn't mean that I don't always, you know, collab with friends. You know, I collab with just sometimes people I know, or, you know, work acquaintance is how I would see them.
And to piggyback off of that real quick, I remember Mrs. Mummy and I, we maybe have talked like 2 or 3 times, like in VCs, like doing stuff like this, but we never had really fully like gotten to know each other. But I had asked her, I was like, hey, for my, you know, debut, I was like, would you be interested in doing, you know, like a debut video for me, just a reaction? And I remember her and I actually talking about like how she loves to be invited to stuff like that. So it's like, and I agree with that, like, invite us to stuff, you know, like, and don't just sit there and be like, oh, collab. It's like, invite us to do other things aside from just collab.
Right. Like, let's have a movie night. Let's play a game together. It doesn't always have to be collab. Like, why does it always have to be work? You know?
Yeah,
Plus, it's just so much less pressure if you're not on stream too, when you're with someone new. Like, there's less pressure on both people, you know? Like, as a creator, if someone approaches me for a collab, I'm gonna be worried about, like, what kind of person I'm bringing on to my stream in front of my community members, you know? But
yeah,
like,
I tried to fill out
out,
like a survey and...
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, we just did a background screening and whatnot. It's fine. But
I'd give 2 references to be like my stream.
No, it's just yeah, it's a much better way. And I personally like as far as trying to become friends with other creators, the most success I've had is through like replying to their tweets. I personally don't necessarily think it's a great idea to become friends with someone through their Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Because like people don't see, like, if you see someone in your chat, you don't see anything about them except for what they type. But if you interact with someone on Twitter, you can go to their bio, you can see all their information and stuff. It's readily available, and you're not like in a conversation live with a bunch of chatters who would, like, you'd be distracted from if you tried to check someone out, you know? Like, it's a much better situation, much more enabling for like, information exchange on both sides. So a lot of my friends have come from, replying to their stuff on Twitter, or they replied to my stuff. And then, after a few interactions, if I sense that there's some rapport between us, maybe I'll slide in the DMs and try to get a conversation going. And
Same.
I'll try to say something other than just, hi, how's it going? I'll
how's it
try to
going?
try to maybe like continue a conversation from replies or something like that, or something interesting, ask them something about themselves that or maybe like offer them some sort of value to, or like interest in actually having a conversation.
Same.
For me, a really good way to sort of build rapport is to indicate some kind of either interest in like my content and my work,
Yes,
or
exactly. I was gonna say that.
or like a mutual interest. Like True and I were just talking about Sea of Thieves before, like, we came on, and we're like, oh, we like both play Sea of Thieves. That's so cool. And that has nothing to do with content per se. It's just a basis of similarity. And instead of just saying hi, so you're indicating, hi, I'd like a conversation and I'd like you to carry it, please. Like,
Yes.
give something to bounce off of. Like, say, hey, I loved, when you did this and this and this stream. It was so cool. Like, or this joke was so funny. Like, just something that will like get an exchange going, and just demonstrate that I'm someone rather than anyone.
Yeah, to just piggyback off that, like showing a genuine, like if you want to befriend another content creator, showing a genuine interest in their content is like one of the ways you have to do that. Like, you have to show like you need to show up to Twitch chat, you need to talk in their Discord, you need to reply to them on Twitter, show that you actually give a shit about like their content, like, because that's like that's what they're putting their work into. And like, if you're just like, if you don't watch them and if you don't like interact with them, and you just want to be friends, that's not how it works, honestly. Like, show genuine interest in people. People will see that and they'll respond to it.
Right.
I actually disagree
Earlier
with that.
too.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. A majority of the friends that I've made with other content creators, I haven't necessarily like watched their content, and maybe like a lot of times they haven't really watched mine. Like, maybe we just had like a bunch of interactions on Twitter or something.
But that's still content. It's just not streaming.
Content,
True.
yeah.
That's a good point. But like, I don't think that you need to be, in my Twitch chat to be my friend. And I actually, from the way that I look at it, if you're in my Twitch chat, it's probably less likely that we're going to become close friends. Yeah. Just
It's true, but like, if I saw a picture of you that I really liked and I was like, oh, I really like that picture, who's the artist, or the mood in this picture was like awesome, or whatever, that's still like indicating an interest beyond just hi.
So I think
but...
for me it's a little different. See, for me, I think like what Mido said and what Atra said makes total sense to me, because for me personally, I will be more willing to be friends with a community member or a viewer who watches my content, or at least can reference certain things like inside jokes within my community and stuff, and me know that they are like invested in me as a content creator. But when it comes to me becoming friends with VTubers, other VTubers, that is not always the case. I don't care if they watch me or not. There is, like, as long as we have a good interaction, a back and forth, like maybe on Twitter or something like that, that's perfectly fine with me. I don't expect other content creators to watch me. We all are making our own content. But when it comes to someone who's just a viewer or, a community member, to me, there needs to be that kind of connection, because I feel like coworkers can kind of get away with things that maybe my community members can't. Again, I like, you both made really valid points, and I realized, I was like, okay, well, Atra has a point too, because a lot of the VTuber friends that I'm friends with don't really watch me, and they don't come to my streams. I still care about them a lot, and we don't have to watch each other to be friends. We pass the vibe check, kind of, But when it comes to like somebody who has no social media presence really, and doesn't have like a Twitter we don't really have the Twitter back and forth, and just at least them knowing my content, knowing me as a content creator, being able to comment on things that they've liked that I've done, that kind of can, hold the conversation, can push the friendship forward.
Yeah,
but there has to be some kind of common ground, right?
Right, exactly.
Within the context of trying to befriend somebody, though, I think that is the way to go, honestly. Like, you don't necessarily need to, like, continue to sustain that interest in their content, but, like, I think you need to show that base level of interest in, like, the work they do. Like, at least starting off.
Well, are we talking about creators trying to befriend other creators, or just anybody trying to befriend
creators? The question from EC was creators trying to befriend other creators.
Right. Then yeah, I don't think watching my content or, like, supporting my content even is necessary for me personally.
Fully valid.
And that's fine. Like, I don't need people to watch my streams, but they have to have some kind of commonality or just some kind of interest in who I am at all, versus just being anyone to collab with.
Yeah.
Like, I really like your design, or we play similar games, or whatever the case is. Like, I think that just DMing anyone and everyone, sort of cold calling,
screw that.
Is unlikely to, like, result in me being interested.
Sliding into DMs like, I like to be VTuber friends. I'm a LuTuber also. I'm like, I don't know. You get out of here.
Yeah.
I want to fuck you on stream.
I mean, the way that I see it is, like, through my content, I put out my persona. But with my friends, I want them to be friends with me. And that's not necessarily, like, what I'm putting out. So if you're watching my content and then you try to become my friend, I may not meet your expectations because I'm not necessarily the person that I'm putting out in my content, you know?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. And, like, it also kind of, it just gets complicated. If someone meets you through Twitch, then they get to know that side of you. But, like, we're not always creating content. We're not always, like, holding the conversations and carrying them, like, a lot of times I'm cool with silence. And if I'm in a VC, I'm not always talking. A lot of times I'll just chime in if I think of something witty,
This is what drives me crazy about being a VC with you, by the way.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Wait, we should talk about that more some other time.
Okay.
But that is something about me, like, and when I'm on stream, I might be talking constantly, but that's not how I am off stream, and it kind of creates these, like, expectations that might be a shock to you. And it also might, like if a viewer is trying to become friends with me, then I'm wondering if they just want, like, personalized one-on-one content or something like that.
Valid.
Yeah. And that's not to say that I'm, like, going to exclude every single viewer from ever having the chance of becoming a friend either, because there are exceptions. There are always going to be exceptions to every rule. And, like, I have met some really cool people through my Twitch chat. But
I think you might be, like, indicating that it shouldn't be something that is expected. It would grow naturally. And if it doesn't, like, that's fine.
That's true.
Yes, I'm not I don't think that you should force friendships. I think friendships are fantastic. Like, you should put yourself in situations where friendships can grow or, like, start, but you shouldn't force them. And if things aren't working out with someone, if things aren't going the way that you want, that's fine. Just move on. There are plenty of people out there to become friends with. But, like, if you think a VTuber is really cool and you're not, like, getting the friendship out of them that you want, then it's just not gonna happen. And move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great question, by the way. Thank you, Ease.
Yeah, it was.
I have another one here. I apologize in advance, chat. Like, I've written these down, but I didn't write down who asked it. So we have a question here. How do you handle people making assumptions about you hanging out with certain people, i.e., like, you hang out with someone, people think you're dating, etc.?
I personally just don't care. People are gonna think what they think at the end of the day. I know it's not. I hate to say it like that, but it's just like, I just kind of leave it up to at their discretion. If they think so, then they can think so. But I'm neither going to confirm or deny, because that's just going to fuel the fire. And if you come out and say that you're not, people are going to be more inclined to find out whether you're lying or not. So don't entertain it.
I've got to admit that I have been, like, I have had at the back of my head being worried that some of Atra's more enthusiastic fans might, like, stab me if they ever met me or something. But,
Come on.
not really. But, like, yeah, I have been concerned before because, you know, Atra and I do a lot of content together and a lot of sexual content together. But, yeah. We've just been like, it's none of your business.
Piggybacking off of that, like, I do find it interesting when, like, creators do have partners and they make that sort of content. Like, people will ask, like, well, where's so and so? Like, does so and so know you're doing this? Like, is like so and so okay with this? Like, and I like, yeah, like, I remember that there's this very large VTuber who does lewd content and is married and will constantly get questions like that, like, you know, does your husband know? Like, do you do it with the children in the house? Like, that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's none of your fucking business.
That's so uncomfy, man.
I got asked word for word, does your husband know how you conduct yourself? And I was like, yes, he's my chief mod and biggest fan. It's fine. Not that it's any of your business.
Yeah, and I have seen some, like, if two content creators are dating and, like, in one of their chats people are asking about the other, you know, like, I've seen people enforce the don't bring up streamers or other content creators unless the streamer brings it up first rule. And, like, if someone asks about it, that's a timeout or a ban because that's breaking a rule. Doesn't matter if they're in a relationship. Just don't do it because it's distracting and rude. As long as that's a boundary that streamer has set. I know some
of
streamers
course, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just to preface, chat, like, I know most of you guys are cool, but, like, these opinions, like, expressed here are our own opinions. They're not meant to attack anybody. They're not meant to be a springboard to jump off of. Like, this is just how we feel about certain things, you know?
Yeah. And just because we disagree doesn't mean we, like, think any less of these creators that are with us. I still, you know, I appreciate and adore all these creators.
Or anybody out there on Twitter, because, you know, the tendency, especially for you three on the couch, like, for people to, like, take something that you tweet and springboard off it.
Yeah, bringing up trauma, man.
I was dealing with that this morning. What the hell?
I know.
Knock on wood, I haven't had that yet, but Jesus, it's coming for me someday.
Yeah.
No, people see it.
I think
people see it.
something a lot of people don't understand about me is that, like, I love having people with different opinions around. I love having conversations like that. I'm open to having my mind changed. But if you just say that I have an L take and just shit on me about stuff that I say, then, like, what are you contributing? What are you doing?
No, that's such an immature way to handle that, and that's a problem with they're the problem. That's not you being the problem. It's we can all have difference of opinion. Nobody's opinion is correct. There's not a universal, hey, this is the opinion and that is always going to be right. That is the universal opinion of something. We all have different opinions, and it's how we respect other people's opinions, whether or not we agree with it or not. Like it's that shows how you are as a person. You have to be able to respect other people's opinions as long as they're not hateful and, you know, like that's different, you know. But you know, having a difference in opinion is perfectly fine. We just have to respect each other for having different opinions. Okay, well, you know, I respect your opinion, but I have to agree to disagree. And people hate that. They always want to be, no, my opinion is the only opinion worth having, and that's bullshit.
I think it's important to keep people like Maito said. Like, it's important to have people who disagree with you and are willing to tell you why, because when you sit there and you live in your own echo chamber that people just say, like, oh, you're right, you're never going to grow. You're just going to stay on the same path that you're on, and it's never going to get any better.
Reach. Yeah, that's why I appreciate you, Trio, because you've, like, expressed a difference in opinion with me a few times, and, like, I like being challenged like that. I like, you know, having those conversations.
No, you too, for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be confrontational either.
Exactly. Like, you know, True and I are very civil with each other. You know, I'm chill with you at least, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing. People sometimes think if the opinion is not the same, automatically it's an attack. A lot of people take it as the
Yes.
and that's not the case. Like, don't get defensive just because we have a difference in opinion. I'm not attacking your opinion just because mine is different. People don't seem to understand that either. They want to quickly get defensive. Oh no, that's not how it is, and become defensive. And it's not an attack. There can be a difference of opinion respectfully, a difference in opinion, and people automatically don't see it that way.
With that as well. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that comes from a place of insecurity. That's all.
Yeah, no, you're right. It does. With that though, as weird as it sounds, some people are just so quick to just write people off instantaneously because of an opinion.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
also,
we differ in opinions, so we can't be friends. We can't associate. We can't even be in the same circle. I can understand with certain things, you know, but like
Right.
other like literally bad ones. But like if it's just, oh, I don't like this kind of behavior or this, you know, this color, you know, like we can't be friends. It doesn't need to be trivial, you know.
Or
Like
I
the
don't
whole
like hydrate redeems.
or you have
oh god.
Bro,
you have Twitter
don't call
Blue
me
now.
out like this.
so many people were like were banning people or blocking people because of Twitter Blue. You know, it's like if you got Twitter Blue, everybody was gonna ban you or block you or whatever. And it's like, seriously, you know, a lot of people make their livelihood off of Twitter, and they need that Twitter Blue. Just, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna argue it, but so many people were just like, no. And it's like, wow, like, can't we just have a difference of opinion? And like, what does it matter if somebody pays for it or not?
And also, if there is a difference of opinion, or even if you fuck up, it's important to know that it's not like that there's no way back.
True.
You know, like, oh, like you fucked up, like, oh, you were really awkward in this conversation, therefore I write you off as a person forever.
And they gunny sack it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think in situations like that, like I was just telling a friend something similar earlier, but in situations like that, like if you had an awkward interaction with someone who you were trying to be friends with or something like that, I don't know if that's the direction you were going, Misty, but it's a good idea to remember that you overthink about yourself probably way more than anybody else overthinks about you. You know?
Absolutely.
The fact of the
But
matter
I
is,
think particularly,
I was gonna say, the fact of the matter is, like, people see like accounts with large amount of followers and like see their tweets as springboards. They don't see people. They don't see creators. They don't see, like, you know, you. They see an opportunity to like state their point and shit on you. And like I've noticed that like across, like, for very many VTubers at, like, you know, at a certain level, honestly. Like no one gives a like Iron Mouse, Shy Lily, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. But like, you know, Mummy, Maito,
they're kind of in a
Trua.
league of their own.
Exactly. But like, you know, especially for like our guests today, I really feel like that is the case for like a lot of social media interactions. Is we'll see them tweet something like personal or like their own boundary and sort of like use that as a springboard to be like, no, this person's wrong and here's why they're wrong, instead of like, you know, engaging in conversation or asking why, you know? Because without fail,
It's
like,
not a concept, it is quote retweets.
it is quote retweets. But like I think the perfect example, like I will see like Mummy tweet something that is like very personal, very like honest, and then we'll have to like tweet something like almost like immediately afterwards, like what I was trying to say was
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, like correction. It's like
yes.
correction.
Which you wouldn't have to do in a
Please,
like, you know, in a like a, you know, a normal world, like
right,
you would say your thing and
right.
people would ask you like, what do you mean by that? And you explain yourself, not have to like make an announcement like, I didn't mean to offend X and Y and Z, you know?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
today, yeah, the one I did yesterday or whatever, somebody took it and threw it in a completely different direction, and I'm like, oh my god, you know, like, this is not at all what I meant.
Yeah.
And it was like, try to make it into something like making it seem like I was almost racist, you know, and I'm like, this was actually about, like, you know, gaslighting people and stuff, like, please, this is within the VTuber space.
I hate it when people on Twitter just put their own narrative on whatever you post.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
if the OP like intends it to come off a certain way, don't take anybody else's word for it except the original posters.
Right.
And also, like, I equate particularly like Discord or like real-time like relay conversations is like being in a beer garden. And if you had like a disagreement of opinion, you didn't understand something, you'd say, "What do you mean by that?" You wouldn't run out of the door and go screaming in the street, "Attention, everybody! Mito doesn't think hydrate redeems are valid."
Mito doesn't like self-care.
For that tweet, man, I can't let it go.
I immediately quote retweeted that, like, so true. I agree with this 100%. Then people started like,
And you started getting shit as well.
I
Like,
know.
holy
I'm
shit,
like,
they're like,
The
well,
thing is,
what about people who need them? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, obviously I'm not referring to them.
yeah. If that's your interaction with your community, then by all means. But like most of us, like that shouldn't be the VTuber meta. That's all we're saying. For us, personally,
I mean,
us.
I personally meant more like in conversation, you know, not necessarily redeems.
I know.
Yeah.
But it was very funny to take something so like benign and just turn it
Yeah.
into such a fucking storm in a teacup.
Was Twitter doing Twitter things? Apparently, that's how Twitter works.
No, but I
You
understood
could say,
it.
yeah, you could say, "Oh my god, I really enjoyed my trip to Japan," and people are gonna be like, "Mrs. Mummy #hates America." You know, that's just how they do.
But no, like I've actually like snapped at my community before when like I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna stay up a little late. Like you should get rest. You should sleep. You should sleep. You should sleep." Like, no, I'm not gonna go sleep. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, like I'm a 30-odd-year-old man. Like
I'm a 30-something. Check my tags. Year-old man.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact place that I was coming from.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, like don't tell me what to do, because I had enough of that growing up. I agrees.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
God, we're going down a dangerous path, bro. I don't want to talk about my parents right now.
I know. We'll save that for another one.
oh my god, my
Adult
psych nerd
content.
wants to come out of her cage so bad.
Adult content creation and your parents.
I'm gonna get a DM from Mystique later tonight, like, hey, so about your parents.
Yeah, like I'm putting so many
No.
leashes on her right now.
All right, I have a question for Mr. Goog, or Gog, Mr. Gog, Mr. Goog,
Mr. Goog.
Mr. Goog. Have you dealt with people judging you for the company you keep in the VTubing community, like friends distancing if you interact with certain other VTubers?
Yes.
Oh Christ,
Oh
yes.
god, yes.
Oh, really?
The only
Yes.
time- The only time that's happened to me was when the person was actually just a completely shitty person who was abusive and gaslighty. And, yeah. That's all I'll say about that.
I had somebody who was like, "Oh, you're friends with X, but they have me blocked," and then they just started going on like how they started having like all this issues with this one person, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of my friend, so I can't really tell you much of anything." Like, people will come to you expecting you to fix their issues with their friend, with like their problems, you know.
Right.
And it's like you can't involve yourself because it's like it's not
No.
your mess. It's not my circus, not my monkeys.
Can I say that I'm usually the one that other people cannot interact with? Can I say
yes.
that?
That's fair.
Can
that's
I
fair.
say that I am the person that is usually like permabanned from things?
Yep.
Because like, yeah, okay, I am the red flag friend. So this is the thing. A lot of people will like start trying to become friends with me and stuff, and then they'll start hearing like all this horrible like fake shit from other people. Like, oh, I heard from a friend of a friend that Miss Mummy did this or whatever, and it's like, and then they're like, okay, well, you know, I can't really, you know, and it's like, okay, look, I get it. You gotta protect your brand. You gotta protect your whatever, you know, and I'm perfectly okay with people distancing themselves from me to protect themselves. I respect that. You got to do what you got to do for yourself. I'm not upset about it. I don't care. But the thing is just that I am usually that red flag person. I have had so many people, friends of mine, just tell me, yeah, this person completely like hates you, like said that I can't hang out with them anymore because of you, and it happens like consistently, like quite a lot. And it's like, why? And usually it's like, well, because they don't like you because you're like a loot tuber, or they don't like you because
God.
this person and this. And normally a lot of the time that's what it is. It's like, oh yeah, they have you blocked, or they don't like you because of this interaction you had with this person once, a million years ago. I'm like,
Right.
who? And
Fucking
so,
who? Yeah.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
who? And they're like, yeah, you spit on this person. And I'm like, what? I don't even
There's
know who you're
probably a lot
talking
of
about.
girlfriends that have had their boyfriends block you as well, which is because I've experienced that.
Oh, yeah, me
I've
too.
seen that, yeah.
I've definitely had that.
Me
I have.
too.
I've had guys openly tell me, be like, hey, I'm really sorry, but we can't be friends anymore.
And then
because
they
my
all have alt
girlfriend's
accounts to
very-
watch your content.
And my girlfriend's very, very, insecure about me being friends with you. And it's like, okay, that's fine, don't worry about it. I had, a friend of mine had to deal with one of his friends messaging him, was like, yes, I saw you were streaming with that woman.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus
That
Christ.
Called me that woman, and I was like, bro, I was like, damn, I got a title and everything of that woman.
That's kind of a compliment, isn't it? Like you're
That
seen
Jezebel
as so
over there.
threatening and sexy
Mhm.
that people can't control themselves around you.
I mean, like I said, like honest, like I don't really care, but it's kind of, it's a little bit at the same stifling, because I would love to be invited to things. I'd love to be invited to like collabs and stuff. Like I would love to make friends with other VTubers in the space too. I don't really ever get the chance to do that, and that's probably why I'm very guarded. Is because I hear so many negative things from so many people around me about the perception of me as a person, when they don't even really know me. They just know what I do, and that's kind of where then I become guarded, and I'm the one who's not like so willing to be friends with people, because usually a lot of the times they want something from me, or then I end up getting stabbed in the back by somebody who's like, oh yeah, now my girlfriend found out I was talking to you and now she hates me. I was like, why didn't you tell your girlfriend we were talking? Like,
Yeah.
we're just being friends. Like, why didn't you tell her that's a you problem, not a me problem?
I will
Honestly.
say, Mummy, like, I've always admired you, so the minute that you wanted to be on the show, like, I was completely down 110%. So
Oh, thank you.
it's been
Yeah,
my
no, she's
pleasure to find
weird.
you. Exactly.
That
Yeah.
really does mean
Been
a lot
nothing
to
but
me.
the sweetest.
That really does mean a lot to me, because again, like
Mhm.
like I said, I feel like either people are intimidated by me because of the stupid Twitter number, or people don't like me, and that's like always a thing. And I feel like a lot of the times I do want to reach out to people and like say, hey, I'd love to be a part of that, but at the same time, I don't want to be one of those people that has to reach out to people, because again, I'm also shy in that aspect. It's like, well, maybe they don't want me there because
Yeah.
I'm a
I felt that way
VTuber,
about my turn. And
I
that's,
think
that's
With-
genuinely true. I was super intimidated by you, and like I never really like mastered how to like interact with you. And then you were in a VC in Atra's server. It was the first time we've ever spoken, and I was kind of intimidated. But it was only after actually speaking to you that like I calmed down and like we can just talk and joke and stuff. But yeah, like I was super intimidated by you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I actually agree with that. My toe does have a presence, honestly.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry,
I'm
dude.
just
I'm
just
honest.
a person over here, man.
You are just a person.
Oh
I know
my
that
goodness.
now.
No, I agree. Mito gives off like very intimidating.
Egg? Fucking. Come on, man.
Like I tried replying on like your posts sometimes, and then like if you spoke to me, I'd be like, "Oh my god, he spoke to me!" Like doing the senpai dance on the sidelines,
No way.
and not knowing how to reply. Yeah,
I would screenshot it, like send to
You
Renry,
guys
like,
are
Renry,
gaslighting
look,
me.
he,
Nope.
he responded to me.
Maito spoke to me.
It's the villain VTuber title that makes him intimidating. Because I agree, he does give off an intimidating vibe.
Well,
Not gonna lie, he
Mummy,
does.
you knew me before I was a villain, didn't you? Or no, I guess you did. No.
You were very,
I was-
just starting off when I started talking to you, and
Yeah.
even still, I was like, oh my, he kind of makes me a little intimidated. I don't care about numbers. It's the personality that makes me intimidated by people.
Well,
Am
Atra
I
was
an
intimidated.
intimidating person?
I mean, Atra was intimidated by me at
Yeah.
one point. Like, we all have that.
Yeah, we all have that.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of it though, with us being such bigger presences on Twitter,
Yeah.
there's two big things there that freak people out with friendship. Well, three technically. A, the number. B, the fact that a lot of us post what we go through and things that affect us, whether it be directly or indirectly, it ends up on Twitter. Some people just don't want to be the story of the day. The other thing is, we also, a lot of us, are very blunt and honest. And some people cannot handle that. And they don't like they want to go through the world and see it through rose-colored glasses. And some people just can't handle the way that we say things.
Well,
Absolutely.
if they don't want me to be blunt, then I'll be sharp.
There you go.
Oh. That's a t-shirt right there. That's your next merch.
I love that. Yeah, I
that.
love
Idea.
that.
I'm also stealing Atra's subtle British elbows idea for a t-shirt.
Actually,
He says I throw subtle British elbows at people.
So I actually did have a question. Like, what would be your advice for anyone who's intimidated by your large Twitter numbers? I say that in the most subjective way possible.
Just reach out. What's the worst that could happen? You know, because I say that to everyone. Granted, I can't speak for everyone here because everyone has their own opinions on other things. But, you know, I'm Trua. You can find me on Twitter at evertrua_TTV. You know, some people will reach out, some people might not. But, I mean, you'd be surprised. And as long as I feel like your intentions are genuine and you are just, you know, nice and an all-around good person, you know, you never know what would happen. You could meet your best friend.
Yes, we are. No matter how many numbers we have next to our name, what the fuck ever, we're still human beings. And if you try to connect with us as human beings, coming from a genuine place, like, we will recognize that a lot of times. We still may not, you know, connect with you, whether it's because we don't have the time or whatever. Just so long as you don't come in with like expectations that absolutely need to be met from us and whatnot. You know, we are human beings.
Yeah, and I will say oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
Okay, I will say I met Atra through a weird situation that he was going through. I mean, we've talked because we both modded for a friend, but we never really like talked until we were in a server together. And I helped him through a very rough situation that he was dealing with. And granted, I didn't know him very well, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out my hand and help you and, you know, be like, no, you're not dealing with this by yourself. And after that, you know, like, we've been friends ever since. So it's like, if I didn't do that, like, and if I just shut that off, I wouldn't be here today on the show.
Well, you might be because you're pretty cool.
I'll always be grateful for you for that. Thank you.
I got you.
I actually have. I'm sorry.
Fine.
No, I intruded on the moment. Please.
Stop being so British for like 2 seconds.
I actually have a story related to the previous question that I think is very relevant. There's a person in my community who has been in other communities before, like video game communities, and like, he was a bit of a jerk, but like, he worked on himself, went to therapy, like, and he got better. But someone in the community did not like him and accused him of being a pedophile with no, like, evidence, nothing.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And not only that, he, like, there is a folder of screenshots going out around this guy, and like, I read every single one, and people are like, oh, well, you know, there's some accusations, therefore we'll just cancel him. The only thing that's in those screenshots is this dude accusing this person of being a pedophile, and then laughing at him when the people that he's like accusing him of noncing are coming out and saying, no, like, none of that happened. What the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, haha, you're being defended by minors. And they're like,
that
well,
is the immediate scapegoat for people who want to cancel somebody quickly. Because, and that is the easiest way to do it, because nobody wants to associate with that.
Yeah.
So
and
if you ever want to get somebody canceled quickly, it's stupid.
And this this guy proceeded to follow this person around the internet and DM every single VTuber whose community he tried to become a part of, and be like, oh, I've got some warnings for you about this guy, like DM me one-on-one in Discord. And he DM'd me, and I looked through all the screenshots and like went and found these people's accounts so I could read back myself, and like, yeah, I got the full story, and I was like, no, this guy's fine. He's been nothing but respectful. And then I started getting DMs from this stalker from other accounts. And it was the same when this guy joined Pocket's community. He joined and got banned. Like, the stalker joined and got banned for doing this shit. And he rejoined her server again with 5 other alts, all trying to do the same thing. And like, there are certain people who won't associate with me because they haven't taken time to read through the screenshots. Like, oh, you're friends with this guy, you know, or oh, you have this guy in your community who's a pedo. And I'm like, well, I'm not in the habit of letting other people tell me who I can and can't have in my community. Like,
Yeah.
I've spoken to this guy extensively. Like, we've set very clear boundaries. He's been nothing but respectful, and there is absolutely no evidence for the accusations. And like, I'm willing to take that on the chin, because
The dogpile culture, like that VTubing has, can be very disturbing.
yeah, seriously.
Even
Yeah,
when
and
you've
it's kind
done...
of unfortunate because like a lot of times I'll see something like that and I'll be like, okay, I don't want a pedophile in my community, so I'll just ban. And I should probably do a little more due diligence, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I don't always have the energy to vet every single person. So
Like, that's valid. And like, the guy came to me with all of his evidence inside of the story, so like, I was prepared. And if I had people accused of being a pedophile, I would probably either instaban or want to see receipts, and then if there was any kind of suggestion, I would probably do the same. I don't think it's invalid how you feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sucks.
it does suck. Because anonymity makes people monsters, honestly. Like, they'll say things, do things, like, that you wouldn't even conceive of, like, your regular life, and they're just here on the internet, you know? And it feels like every single week you got somebody who's like, oh, this person's horrible, this person's terrible, and like, how do you vet that sometimes?
And even he was like, look, I can't fault people for not wanting me in their community. It just sucks because I haven't done this thing. I'm a teacher, you know, this is really hurtful. And like, you know, it means a lot that you took the time to like actually find out the truth for yourself. But it's totally understandable that not everybody can do that. It just really sucks that this happened to that guy, because he's actually really nice.
Yeah, I believe in cancel culture in the VTuber space, depending on, you know, the situation or the circumstances. I'll read up like all the horrible, like, you know, dirty details of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's always like a miscommunication or just people airing out their dirty laundry about a relationship that went south, and it's not even anybody else's business. Like, you know, a lot of the times it's like, wow, like it's okay, they broke up, but people are so quick to just you know, point fingers of, in general, a relationship going south, and then they're looking back at all their things and being like, oh, this was gaslighting, and it's like, I mean, it's like, I can read some of those messages, like, it doesn't really seem like gaslighting, it just seems kind of fucked up, but I mean, it's not like, you know. And so again, it's just how people can just paint a picture of something, paint something to be something really ugly, when it's just kind of standard fare of shit just going bad, you know. And I'm not saying that that's true for everything, I'm not trying to say that either, I'm not trying to just you know, I like, again, I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. So I'm not trying to disvalidate that either. But it's one of those things where so many times people try to cancel people over things that really are nobody else's business.
Yep.
Yep.
I ask myself in situations like that, like, is this person a potential danger to my community?
Is
If
it a
yes, then-
safeguarding issue?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
My
Mhm.
like I always look at it from a standpoint of like protecting my community,
Me
because that's
too.
what matters.
Absolutely.
If you just had a bad experience with someone in a relationship, I don't think they're gonna date my chat. So you're cool. You know, like
Oh, yeah.
people in their personal lives are different from the person they are and the content they make. You
You're
know,
so
like,
real for that.
yeah.
No, like I've had that issue. Absolutely. Like just even vetting like guests for the podcast. But chat, we've just passed 2 hours on this. So if you guys have any questions for the panelists, this is the time to get them in. So please feel free to do so. And final questions for the panelists.
Yeah. No, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with just not painting people off as the villain automatically. You know, and again, that's one of the reasons why I'm just, because I look at it as kind of like the Salem witch trials, you know, like, oh my god, they're a witch. You know, like, nah, dude, unless it's like hard evidence or it's happened to multiple people know about it, then it's like, yeah, okay, then this is an issue.
I also think it's valid just not to want whatever drama is going on, like, near you.
Yeah, stay away from it.
Drama,
Because
like,
it will do
drama
nothing good for
vortexes.
you.
Yeah. You don't have to be involved in drama to like not want to.
Nope.
But yeah, like,
And I mean,
with all things, like, I feel like we've talked quite a bit about the difficulties making friendships in this community. All the ways in which like things can go wrong, things like community. But like, what are some positive aspects of having friends in this community? Question that.
You have safe spaces. People you can go to after a really hard day. Like, it feels like home, you know? I know a lot of us, you know, I can't speak for everyone, but I don't have much of a family anymore because a lot of my family is just gone, whether they're moved out of state or dead or whatever. So it's like my friends or my stream, it feels like home. It's comforting.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of fucking awesome people out here, and I'm grateful to have met and become close to so many of them. I think friendships in the VTuber space, if you can like make it happen, it's very fulfilling and very worthwhile.
And as for the question from chat right now, good tips for keeping friends you have in the community. The way I approach
Don't
it,
ask me.
like, the way that I approach it is like I have my Discord, and like I will see who's falling too low in my DMs. I will pick them back up again. Kind of the way I look at it on a day-to-day basis. It's like if I see you, like, you know, if I have to scroll to find you, that means I haven't talked to you enough recently. I'm gonna check in on you. I know people have issues reaching out. And I think it's good to do like regular, like, don't just stream, like pop into your VC, talk in your server, and also like make time for people outside of streaming, because this is a rat race. It is competitive. We're all, for better or worse, competing against each other, but like making that time, like giving people time and like feeling that love language for people is so
for me, and it also answers Drake's question about like how you unwind from stressful situations. Like having friends, particularly like say Atra, like we are super close. We are each other's safe person. And if we need to vent, we can vent, and we know that it's not going to end up on Twitter like the following day, whatever we're going through. And there are friends that I have here that I know I can turn to. And that even if I don't need to vent, even just having a friendly voice to make the brain worms be quiet, like, is super helpful. And, like, we went from him being a viewer and sort of intimidated by me to like being super close friends, and we're doing all these joint projects and making amazing content together. And like, I would burn the fucking internet down for this man. Like,
She has.
we've and we've got something really special out of it. And he's not the only person that I've met that I've become close friends with through like making content. And I am, but I think the 3 panelists may not know, like, I am disabled. I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm largely bedbound. I'm streaming from my bed right now. And this is a way for me to reach out into the world and connect with it again. And, you know, because I am a very sort of sexual person, to make that kind of content and feel sexy and like put that out and have an outlet for that kind of energy, without having to just sit here in my room by myself day in and day out. And that's hugely important for me.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I also am chronically ill, so I feel you on that one.
Spoonies.
It's hard.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell over you. I thought you were going to talk more.
No, you're good. I thought I lagged out, so that's my bad. No, I said it's hard, especially as a content creator, when you are disabled, and you have a disability or a chronic illness or anything like that. It's hard, because I feel it. So I'm with you there, and it's difficult. But I will say that there's a lot of people out here that are, you know, that look up to us, and I think that's a good thing in content creation, is that we can be the beacons of hope for people who are going through something similar like us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I may not be myself.
Yeah.
Go ahead, mommy.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say the reason I stream too is because, like personally, like I have like agoraphobia issues, and so I have like a really hard time like making friends like in real life. I don't like going out. I don't like being in like places with a lot of people. I have social anxiety issues as well, so it's easier for me to make friendships online without having to like reach out and make friends like in the real world kind of thing. And because of the fact that I also have a borderline personality disorder, I tend to sometimes become like get really lonely. And so it's good to have, you know, that community, that friendship, so when I'm having a bad day or like the brain worms are attacking me, I could, not to trauma dump on them or to, you know, give my bad energy to them, but just to be like, hey, can we hang out? Like, just to get that kind of like, you know, interaction, that social interaction. Because I'm, despite being agoraphobic, I still have that social butterflyness where I crave social interactions without wanting to be next to them, you know. And so there's that level of, it's a weird mix of not wanting to be around people but still needing to be around people. And so yeah, that's why for me.
I think a lot of people don't realize that extroverts can have social anxiety too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like your deeds and your execution are 2 different things, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm the beacon of hope for all the homies with male pattern baldness, so.
The shining beacon in the night.
Gondor calls for aid. Also, Mummy, I noticed that your mouth is a heart. Your speaking mouth is a heart, and I love that.
Oh my god,
Wait,
thank
really?
you.
It is a heart. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, when I talk, out comes my heart mouth.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's cute as fuck.
Oh, thank you.
Well then, I think we'll start to wrap it up as we've just passed the 2-hour mark. Thank you to our lovely guests here tonight, Miss Ami, Maito, and Trua. Chat, again, thank you so much for the wonderful questions. I apologize if we can get to like all the questions. I hope that they were answered. We're gonna end with a bit of some plugs. So let's start with Mummy. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, I want to plug my
Self?
my ever famous Twitter account that is going to get canceled one day.
All 3 of them.
All three of
I
them.
mean,
Just follow me at. Well, I needed three, and then people always ask me why three, and I'm like, I needed three because one, a lot of artists don't want to interact with a YouTuber. Just so you guys know, that's another part of like the business that people don't tell you. If you're a YouTuber, they're like, oh, I don't want your business, kind of fuck you, kind of thing. It's like your money's not good enough.
Yeah.
So not all artists. I'm just saying some. So I do have my Say So account for that reason, to just kind of talk to sometimes like artists that are sometimes even like 17 years old or whatever, just keep them away from my plus 18 account, so it's better just to have one Say So account for that. Then I have my loot account. I don't want my main account to be banned or tagged as being, like shadow banned because of all the sussy stuff. So then I have my loot account, and then I have my regular account, which is where I post a lot of my based, like, problematic posts. But,
Base problematic.
yeah, Mrs. Mummy at Twitter, and then you can find me at Mrs. Mummy basically everywhere, on TikTok, on YouTube, on the Blue Twitch, aka Fansly. You can just Mrs. Mummy on every social media platform. You should be able to find me. So, and yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Mummy, I'm gonna hit you up about another future episode about the stigma around YouTubers. I hope that you'll be down to talk about that.
I would love that for sure. Yeah, Lady Mystique, they don't want my whore money. Like,
You don't want your bucks.
get your whore face out of here. Yeah, no, they don't want it. I'm like, damn, I got good money here.
Your dirty bucks.
I've worked hard for this cum money.
Oh my god.
I got buckets of cum bucks here.
Oh my god, I love that. I love that so much.
So funny.
More t-shirt ideas, everyone. Help yourself.
Cum bucks, I love that. That's so good.
Next up, Maito, anything to plug?
Yeah, I make ASMR content on YouTube. Do like boyfriend roleplay stuff. It's a lot of fun. I'm also gonna start getting back into live streaming again real soon. I've been streaming every Monday, just some Baldur's Gate stuff, but I'm gonna start more regular streams now.
You should definitely check out the Monday stream. They're very fun.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. And let me just say, 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. Check them out.
Oh my
Go!
god. We haven't hit 14k yet, bro. Don't.
Well, there you go. That's your call to action, chat. Call to action. Make Maito hit 14k. Let's go.
I'm at 13.9.
Yeah.
That's like me at my 49k right now on Twitter. I'm like, can I please just get that 50?
Right.
I'm so close.
So close.
I'm so close. I'm gonna. No, I was gonna say I'm gonna come. No, I'm so.
No, you can say that on here.
I'm so close. I'm gonna come.
They're edging
I'm
you
gonna
on
make
Twitter.
buckets
Yes.
of cum buckets. Buckets of cum bucks.
And speaking of 50k, Rua, anything to plug?
Ah, yes. Hi, my name is Trua, and I follow Mrs. Mummy on all three of her accounts, by the way. You should too.
Thank you.
I just noticed you followed me back on the other one today, and I was like, yes! I was like, I have all three now. You're like a Pokemon card to me. I was like, I have all three.
Oh, well, let's go.
Yeah. So, I just got partnered today with Streamily, so I'm actually setting up a live autograph signing on Twitch. October 23rd at 5 p.m. I'm super excited, so yeah, go ahead and check that out. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, congrats. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Streamily,
That's it.
also used by Iron Mouse and Shy Lily and Evertrua.
I was gonna say, I think Buff
Yo.
was on there too, yeah.
Yeah.
And Vexoria, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's sick.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Lady Mystique.
Hey, the Alex appeal has ended, but if you enjoy erotic audio ASMR from women who definitely have all their teeth, check out my Fansly. You can also find all of my links at ladymystique.tv, along with an image gallery. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I did say congrats. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've been Atramentum_X, your host, variety streamer, and YouTuber. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Twitch. And eventually on YouTube. I'm working on it. The Depths is usually every 2 weeks. We're gonna take a little break for while I figure out what we're doing next. So normally this would be the point where like I play a video of who's the next guest on the podcast. We won't be doing that today, but the Depths will return soon. But for now, I really appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight and my guests. Thank you so much, everybody. And closing thoughts, like when it comes down to it, people are people. Respect their boundaries and just reach out. Like that's how you make friends in this game. And just fucking go for it. Have a lovely night, everybody, and like and subscribe.